Nepal is in a transition, I would say, because the aspiration are also high. Definitely, I want to contribute a lot, but at the same time, I want to at least look, beyond Nepal, what is happening, and expand my horizons. So that is mainly my motivation.
Hi everyone, thanks for listening to this first episode of Nepal Now on the Move. I know there are literally millions of podcasts out there competing for your listening time, so I appreciate that you chose this one. My name is Marty Logan. I'm a Canadian journalist who has lived in Nepal's capital, Kathmandu, on and off since 2005. You can reach me with feedback on anything you hear on Nepal Now, or ideas for guests at nepalnowpod, P-O-D, @gmail.com. If you're not familiar with the show, Nepal Now has been around for a while. I published more than 60 episodes from June 2020 to June 2023, and here we are again. Why am I back? You might be wondering. You can listen to the new trailer for a full explanation. The short answer is that I think I still have something to contribute to informing people, both Nepalis and foreigners, about this country. And I think I've found a way to make it more engaging. To jump right in, today we're speaking with Prem Awasthi. Prem worked for the United Nations in Nepal for 18 years, dealing with the growing number of humanitarian emergencies in the country. In December 2023, he moved to Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan. I caught up with him just hours before his flight left Kathmandu. We talked about the many practicalities of going, as well as why he was leaving, and if it's a good thing that so many people are migrating from Nepal. Take a listen now to our chat. Prem Awasthi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Marty. It's a pleasure, and I'm really pleased to talk with you.
Great. I'm happy you came. As we'll talk about later, you're very busy, especially today, so I really appreciate you coming. So we've just met a few days back, so I'm doubly happy that you were able to make time today. And I really don't know much about you except what we talked about the other day, which was very much focused on the earthquake and what happened after the earthquake in Zazakot. But for this today, just tell me a little bit about your background, like where you're from in Nepal, where you went to school, that kind of thing.
Thank you, Marty. Actually, I was reflecting when you were asking question. My life is on move. And my journey began almost 30 years ago when I left my village in Doti, Sudur Pasim. Once it used to be very prosperous, that's we've been told, but currently, it's very remote, isolated area. My schooling was from Doti, so I did my SLC, which is 10th grade from Doti. I was brought up in a Doti, and during my initial days for grade 1, 2, maybe I was walking more than 2 hours just to make one way 2 hours to commute the school. And then I moved to Bhairava for my intermediate schooling. And then from there to Chitwan, I did my bachelor's. So since then, I'm migrating here and there. So it's been more than 18 years that I worked with UN in a humanitarian, in a development setting. So that's briefly about myself.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like you've been on the move a long time, and your family is still, some of them in Doti, or everyone has left? No.
Some of my childhood friends, they are still in Doti. My immediate family, my parents, my brother, all they left, as lot of population are on move. Moving from hill to Tarang is quite normal over the last 30-40 years.
Yeah. Just for curiosity, because I've been through Doti on my way to Assam. I remember driving through there, and I thought it was very beautiful, like so many parts of Nepal. Is your village close to the road, or is it a long way off that main highway?
It's close to road. I mean, now there is a bridge. It's like a 10-15 minutes walk from a road. Earlier, it used to be like, this side was road, another side was my trail. But it's really beautiful along the river valley and stunning. That is the most beautiful place always in my heart and mind.
Yeah, of course. Home is home, right? Home will always be home, no matter where you are.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. Okay, so then to today, you said now 18 years you've been working with the UN, and this links to why I met you the other day. We were talking about the recent earthquake centered in Zazerkot, and then the response to the earthquake by a huge section of Nepali and international society, including obviously the UN and these other big organizations. And so your role in that and in terms of other emergencies is very important. So you're in the well, you explain it.
Yeah, I mean, it was important, quite important, demanding and challenging tasks that I had to perform with UN in Nepal. Mainly coordinating with different actors, mostly the international actor, which includes Red Cross movement, international NGOs, different UN organization. UN is a big family. There are different sectoral specific organization. And another task was interfacing with government. So regularly on behalf of senior UN official, interfacing, communicating with the government, and also sitting day in, day out with the government, planning on the response. And before, any emergency, working on a daily basis on emergency preparedness part. So it includes different layer of government, particularly the provincial and the federal government. And within a federal government, there are different entities. So this was my task mainly with the UN in Nepal.
Okay, and I think it's fairly clear that now there are more events, emergency kind of events, a lot of them related to climate and weather, right? More regularly, we seem to be hearing about landslides or seeing landslides, flooding. I guess the earthquakes are a different type of emergency. Were you busier as the years went by in terms of response, or?
Absolutely. I mean, the cold is getting intense, even it's for limited period. And heat is getting intense, which was not that major hazard in past. Those season used to be like sort of down. And monsoon is always been most hazardous, particularly up in the hill. You may have seen everywhere road construction, even, not proper engineering or indigenous technologies. So that has also significantly contributed. So, yeah, in terms of different natural hazards and responding to the humanitarian consequences throughout the year, it's been quite busy. I mean, it depends on the scale and magnitude, but there is always something hazardous events across the country.
Right. Okay. And so we're not going to talk too much more about your job because we're talking more about your life. But one other question that I think kind of links, or in my mind when I imagine this conversation, links the work and what you're doing personally is, with all of these events, did you find that people within Nepal are also like moving people who are affected by an earthquake or by flooding or whatever? Are they likely to pick up and move, or is it almost always just a temporary displacement?
People are on the move. Let me give you one example. I was in Bhojpur district, Arun Gaonpalika. It was back in 2017. I asked newly elected chairperson what is the main problem, and the chairperson was saying the invasion of monkeys is a problem because the forest coverage increased because people were not growing. There were a lot of bushes and people were on a move. So that kind of, villages becoming empty is seen across the country. And even through my eyes, I have seen a lot of people moving to either in an urban area in the hills or moving down to Tarai. So it's amazing if you see the number of people moving. It depends. Once they have like a certain amount of money that they can at least rent out or buy piece of land, they usually choose to move because of different reason, for education or for aspiration of better life, or for employment. And so there are different reasons, but internal migration is a major kind of phenomena. And so is, like labor migration and other migration that we see every day.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard so much of this recently. I mean, the amount of people talking about moving, all sorts of movement is growing and growing, and that's why we're talking right now today. And okay, so now you're also moving after 18 years at the UN, and you're moving. So where are you going and when are you going?
Actually, I am traveling tonight after a few
this
hours.
Is very last minute.
Last minute, but pleased to talk with you. And I mean, migration is quite interesting, and we all are migrant in one way or other. And it's good. I mean, I recall my first time when I left my village. I was always curious person. So everything was new for me, even tree, plant, landscape, even in the same district, traveling from one village to another was fascinating. I was so amazed to see. And when I came to Tarai, first time, seeing flat land everywhere was incredible. I can't explain my feeling. I think I should write one day. And then, when I came first time in Kathmandu, again, everything was new for me. And then I travel abroad. So many things were new, culture, people. And I'm always curious to learn. And travel is a great form of learning. So through travel, you can learn about food, culture, geography, history, different things. So I'm moving to Kabul tonight. So I will be there at least for a year working with UN. And I'm interested to learn, and also, for the greater humanity, for good cause. I want to use my skill, knowledge, ability. So it's like a mutual benefit, So my skills are also used, and importantly, I also get to learn a lot of things, and maybe it will expand my horizon. I'm sure that working in my society, speaking same language, eating same food that I ate from childhood, and then going into the completely new context is definitely that will give me a good horizon, new insight. So I'm really excited.
Okay, that's a huge move. I mean, it's South Asia still. So in a sense, geographically, it's not that far, but it is far in so many ways, right? I mean, obviously, Kabul is a place that's having a lot of difficulties in terms of governance, in terms of human rights, et cetera, et cetera. There are food issues, humanitarian issues, obviously. And it's also a fascinating place. It's at the crossroads of so many civilizations, and its history is, even going back beyond the recent history of the 21st and 20th centuries. It's so interesting in terms of the people who have lived there, and it's a place I would love to visit one day for sure. Was it hard to make a decision to go to Kabul? I mean, are you worried about also going to Kabul, or for you, is it much more of a positive than a negative?
I mean, overall, I was positive, but transition is not easy. It's always difficult, transitioning from comfort zone to something, new. There are a lot of, like a different feeling, doubts, perhaps. And I was working in a very comfort zone, close to family, close to friends, and going into there was some, mixed feeling. But overall, I was positive because, the incentive was at least contributing at the global or regional I feel proud myself that I got this opportunity, not only to serve my country or the society I born in, but at least using my skill set at the regional global level, which is really a proud moment for me. So that was number one motivation. And another was learning. Definitely reading book is one sort of learning, but experiencing, feeling is really a good learning, which I believe in. And my learning curve is also feeling, touching. So with that, I can expand my horizon. Still, I have to manage transition. Not easy decision, I would say, but a decision that I need to take.
Okay, so I want to ask you more about what exactly you'll be doing when you get there. But first, so you mentioned family. Are you going with family or you're going alone? And then how difficult is, obviously, even if you're going with family, you can't go with all your family. So how difficult is it to leave your family? What are they saying about you moving?
I'm going alone.
Okay.
I have 2 daughters, wife. We live together here in Kathmandu Valley. So not easy decision. Because I will be missing them, but yeah, I will be often visiting every 4 to 6 weeks. I will be coming back to visit family, spend some time. Ultimately, we have to take a decision whether at household level or in a career or in a bigger society level. So yeah, sometimes tough decision, sometimes kind of very easy decision. And yeah, it was quite tough, like a catch-22 situation. One way, my passion was like, to contribute at the larger scale and also to explore, which was a good opportunity. And after working almost more than 18 years, also it was time for me to look into what is beyond the national boundary. And one way move is good, and another reconciling with the situation and accommodating with it. So family been quite adaptive, really grateful with that. And also, yeah, even it was tough, I have to take a decision.
Yeah, it's never easy to leave people behind, right? I mean, as much as you look forward to what's coming, and that part will be exciting and new and all of that, it's never something you want to do, leaving people behind, for sure. So when you get there, what exactly will you be doing? What's your role?
My role will be coordination. I had skill and also expertise, which I developed over almost a decade. Here in Nepal, over the last few years, I was mostly focused on humanitarian, but there it will be more peace building. Also navigating through the political process. There is a big UN mission there. So I will be working with a different section within that mission. So bringing everyone together is my job there. So it's monitoring, evaluation, planning, coordination. So these are the main functions that I will be performing there.
Obviously, you know the recent history of Afghanistan and how difficult things have been for decades now. So if you're working on peace in Afghanistan, it won't be easy, obviously, although now there is no large-scale conflict. But with that government there, which is not even internationally recognized as a government by many entities, right? It's a very kind of fragile, sensitive situation, and I guess more political than what you've been doing. How do you feel about that side of it? It's not so much a practical, logistical challenge, much more kind of a governance, political kind of role, no?
Yeah, no, you are right. But my job, I will get to know exactly what I will be doing on a day-to-day basis based on my as of now, I'm prepared mostly for the coordination, acting as a glue and bringing all pieces together. So that kind of role, I think on a peace building or political or humanitarian, there will be experts there. So I don't, I think, be providing the expertise services per se on a peace building and other, but my role will be a planning officer there. So, bringing all together and having more coherence and coordinated element in planning, in the monitoring, in evaluation. So that will be my role. I will get to know, and it will be a good learning opportunity for me also in a fragile context, how the governance, how the peace building part, which is quite important and also most challenging. I mean, if we see the recent history there, so it will be kind of a good learning for me. Perhaps we can talk when I have a good experience from there.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm hoping we can actually talk before that.
Yeah.
Maybe after a month when you're there, just to check in and see how things are going. Obviously, you'll still be, as they say, finding your feet and getting settled. So you'll be based in Kabul. Will you get to travel? Do you know, or?
I will be based in Kabul. I think I will travel. There are different UN mission field offices, so at least I'll be traveling, but not extensive field travel that I used to do in Nepal. In Nepal, I traveled 74 districts out of 77. Okay. Only Manang, Mustang, and Darchula are remaining.
Well, you're coming back every 4 to 6 weeks. You can check them out, but I'm sure you will sometime in your life get to those 3. You haven't been to Afghanistan before?
No, I never. This is my first time. I'm excited.
No doubt. Like I said, it's a place I'd really like to visit, and maybe one day. So you contributed a lot to Nepal, right? You were in a role where you were working for Nepal. Obviously, there are lots of things to do here, as there are in every country, but certainly in Nepal, there's lots of work to do in terms of preparedness, which was your focus up until now. And then in terms of, so-called development, there's a lot to do. Do you feel like you might come back and contribute to Nepal at some later time? Do you feel like you're going when things are on the way up or on the way down? Like, how do you feel about leaving Nepal behind? Not so much on a personal family basis, but as a country where you worked, you contributed to, trying to make things better.
Well, I mean, I want to come back. I want to contribute. I mean, Nepal need more people working on a different sector, But I'm at the same time proud myself that I've been part of historical changes. I mean, I work a lot behind the scene kind of thing, so many work we did, but the needs are huge, and there is a transition on a different front, on the socio-economic front, on a cultural front, on the development side. Nepal is in a transition, I would say, because, the aspirations are also high. Definitely, I want to contribute a lot. But at the same time, I want to at least look, beyond Nepal, what is happening, and expand my horizons. So that is mainly my motivation. As a global citizen, I want to also be part of other society, other context, feel it, experience it. So I may have a better perspective, or different perspective. I want to give you one example. I was in Malawi in 2015. So I was supposed to be there for, I think, more than 6 months. Right after earthquake, I want to come back Nepal. And it was really difficult for me because I was also working there in a humanitarian field. So I thought that I should come back and at least be with people. Whenever there is a need, definitely I will come back, and whatever I can contribute, I'm always happy to contribute. So I don't have a long-term project moving out of country.
Right, okay. Yeah, that was a huge event in the country's history, right?
Yeah.
And you had the skills to contribute, so I can see how it pulled you back. How do you feel about, again, the reason we're talking now is really about migration. and particularly about out-migration. And there are some people going out, coming back, but that number is much, much smaller than the people leaving. And so you talk about, wanting to see other cultures and live, not just be a visitor, but live other cultures and be a global citizen, and you can contribute in other places in different ways. So does that mean when you look at Nepal overall and the migration that's happening now, do you see it as like a natural part of Nepal's progression and development? There are some people who would look at it, and there are some people who look at it and say, oh my God, so many people are leaving, the country's losing its best resources, what are we going to do? How do you feel about that? How would you react to that kind of statement now that you're one of the people going?
No, I see it as a positive phenomena. The reference point is my own life. When I was a child, very few people used to visit Kathmandu, and they used to say going to Nepal. So it was like maybe people walk like 2 days to Dhangadi. From Dhangadi, traveling across the border, taking train, either coming to Birganj or Nepalganj, because there was no bridge over Karnali River. We have our own dialect, Doteli. I never heard Nepali during that time, right? Like 40 years ago. And then if you see now, lot of Nepali song, Nepali speaking, even in a village, there is now less kind of decreasing trend of people going to seasonal labor migration to India. Even for treatment, they come to Kathmandu. So there is this, integration with own country. Earlier, it was quite isolated. Exposure, migration, moving from one place to another is exposure. Even it may promote, it usually promote humanity, connecting with other human beings, looking things differently. If I look my now daughter, her exposure, through textbook or through television or internet, even meeting different culture in a school, so they see it as completely normal thing.
Right,
but for me back then, even coming across another culture was shock. So yeah, migration is positive. If you see from a development side, from whole human development part, exposure, knowledge, broadly humanity, promoting humanity and connecting with other human beings is quite positive. Definitely it has another side on a labor, on the skill set. How we deal with migration is important, but we should promote migration.
Okay, well, thanks again for taking the time today when you're so busy and you're on the cusp of making a big move. I hope that all goes well, your actual move there, and then finding your feet once you get there. And like I said, let's stay in touch and have a chat soon after you're there. And I'm sure, this will be a plus for Afghanistan and a plus for you personally. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you find there and what you learn there. I'm sure they'll miss you here in Nepal. But like you said, there's lots of work to be done, and you'll still be contributing. So thanks again.
Thank you very much. Very pleased to be with you, and a lot of reflection for me as well. This conversation has been quite rich.
Thanks for listening to this first episode of Nepal Now on the Move. I'm eager to hear what you think of the new format, the show's opening, the music, even our new logo. DM me on Instagram, where we are at nepalnowpod. The show is also on Facebook and LinkedIn. Sorry, I gave up on X due to Elon Musk's shenanigans a few months ago, so Nepal Now has also abandoned the former Twitter. In the next episode, we'll talk to Sushma, who reluctantly left her children and her village in Nepal's Karnali region to earn much-needed cash in Kuwait, but returned just months into her time there. I'll talk to you next time.